Greetings for the day. Welcome to another session of Computer Networks. My name is Mohammed Rahmat Ali. In today's session, we are going to learn about the remaining part of World Wide Web and what is dynamic pages and what is the part of hypertext transfer protocol and the remaining things. Before jumping into this topic, let me rewind what we have studied in the previous session. We studied about what actually is World Wide Web and what is the evolution of this World Wide Web and what are the different ways or different evolution things that had happened in World Wide Web, and we studied about the static web documents or static web pages. Now in today's session we are going to learn about the dynamic web documents. What are these dynamic web documents? Usually web pages are been classified into two types. The first one are the static pages and the second one are the dynamic pages. Static pages are those pages which cannot be changed until and unless the user who have created it physically changes it. So those type of pages are called as static pages. Those pages are actually used to describe about the company, describe about the address, describe about the aims, objectives of a company. For those part, we will be using the static web pages. And also for the things which are to be updated on regular basis, like the notice board, for that purpose we will be using the dynamic web pages or dynamic web documents. Now what are these dynamic web pages or dynamic web documents? It is been said over here as dynamic web pages shows different information at different point of time. The best example of dynamic web pages are your social media websites, your Instagram pages, your college website, and so on and so forth. Here, for different times you will be seeing different time things like different comments, different values, and different statements over there. As of now, and also with reference to the YouTube. If at all, if you see around, the comments will be different. If at all, if you see after 2 days, the comments will be different. But because some other people have commented on that, and the comment that you have seen has gone below or gone up. So for that was the reason that pages are called as dynamic pages. Now, dynamic web pages shows different information at different point of time. It is possible to change a portion of web page without loading the entire web page. It has been made possible using the Ajax technology. I guess you studied about Ajax and all these things with in your web development, and also in web development, web application development, we have learned all those things. I did not repeat all of the Ajax technologies and all those things. Now the next point is server-side dynamic web pages. Now what it is created by using server-side scripting. We'll see what server-side scripting in the coming slides. Now server-side scripting, there are server-side scripting parameters that determine how to assemble a new web page, which also includes setting up of more client-side processing. In the sense, you requested something and you got a response, and like see, when you click on username and password, you got a page from the server, and on that server you are commenting it from the client side. You're commenting it from your client side. So this is what you think, or what is the thing that has been said over here. You type www.facebook.com, you got a page. On that you have given your credentials like username and password. As soon as you click on it, from the server side some client side processing is been done, and a home page is being displayed for you, and a home page is being displayed to you. On that you will be processing your own details. What it is, that is client side dynamic page. What it does, it is processed using client side scripting such as JavaScript, and then pass it on to DOM. What is DOM? Document object model. I guess you know what you mean by this DOM parser and all these things in your website, which is been used in your XML type of things. Now moving forward, what it says, this is a diagram with reference to dynamic web documents in which the requested web pages and the request and the dynamic pages are being loaded to your client side and the server web or web servers. Now what are the advantages of a dynamic website? The first point is it is much easier to add new content with reference to dynamic pages with reference to the static pages. But because if at all if you want to add something on the static pages, you again need to code all of the things. But with reference to dynamic web pages, you can add the content on regular basis. But because as it is dynamic and you do not reload, as soon as you change the document, it will be reflected on the page. Whereas if at all you change something on the static web pages, you again need to reload all of the things or all of the web pages to see that changes. The second point is you can make site wide design changes instantly. And the third point is your pages will be simpler to manage. And the fourth point is your site can be made more interactive, whereas the static pages are not interactive. In the sense, what are the things that you are seeing on the things, it will remain same on the first day and after 10 days, after 10 years and after 100 years. But whereas in dynamic web pages, the content will change with reference to timestamp. The thing that you are seeing now cannot be seen tomorrow, and the thing you are seeing tomorrow cannot be seen day after tomorrow. Why? Because as the site is very interactive and the site is very dynamic, the things will change according to the time and according to the modification. The last point is a dynamic website looks more professional. Obviously it looks more professional when compared to static web pages. Why? Because everything is stagnated and everything is been stuck to the client side of a thing. But with reference to the dynamic web pages, it looks more professional. Now moving forward, what do you mean by this scripting languages? What are these scripting languages? Scripting languages are more like programming language that allow us to write program in form of scripts. These scripts are interpreted, not compiled and executed line by line. Now see, this is very important. You should know the difference between compiler and interpreter. This is the question that will be asked in your interview also with reference to the software development, not with reference to this computer networks, but in general you will be asked with reference to the interpreter and compiler. What the difference between the compiler and interpreter? Compiler means a compiler will take the programming code, it will check line by line for the errors, whereas the interpreter takes the program as a whole, what checks for the errors and retrieve you back for all of the errors. That is the main difference between compiler and interpreter. If at all if you see, C program is compiler based, whereas Java is interpreter based, where Java is interpreter based type of a language. Now moving forward, it says scripting language is more like a programming language that allow us to write program in form of scripts. Scripts is a lengthier type of a things. It's similar to a program which can be executed as an individual thing. That is what you call as a script. Now what do you mean by this client side scripting? Client side scripting refers to the program that are executed on client side. All of things that has been executed on client side are called as client side scripting. Also, client-side scripts contain the instructions for the browser to be executed in response to certain users' action. So all of the things that manages with reference to the browser-based things on client side, that is what you call as client-side scripting. Now what do you mean by the server-side scripting? Server-side scripting acts as an interface for client and also limits the user access to resources on web server. It can also collect the user characteristics in order to customize the response. This is what you call as server-side scripting. Now moving forward, what do you mean by this HTTP, World Wide Web HTTP? Now what HTTP is? HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Now what it says, HTTP is a protocol which allows the fetching of resources such as HTML documents. It is the foundation of any data exchange on the web, and it is a client server protocol, which means requests are initiated by the recipient, usually by the web browser. A complete document is reconstructed from the different sub-documents fetched, for instance text, layout, description, images, videos, scripts and many more. Now what this HTML is? HTML is used to access that particular thing. If at all, if you remember, in the first thing we studied about domain name system, in which the domain names are being used. Then we studied about this World Wide Web, which is being used to fetch that particular information. Now, by which we are fetching that information? We are fetching that information with a reference to this HTTP. This HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It's actually a protocol which is being used to allow to fetch the data from resources, which is being used to fetch the data from the server, which is used to fetch the information from the server side. To get the information from the server, we will be using HTTP. HTTP is a protocol. Now, what is a protocol? Protocol is a set of instructions to execute a particular task. A protocol is a set of instructions to execute a particular task. For that purpose, we will be using this HTTP. Now, moving forward, it says the components of HTTP based system. Now, what it is? HTTP is a client server protocol. Requests are sent by one entry or one entity, the user agent or the proxy on behalf of it. Most of the time, user agent is a web browser, but it can be anything. For example, a robot that crawls the web to populate and maintain a search engine index. So these are different components with reference to the HTTP based system. Now, what are the basic aspects of HTTP? HTTP is simple, it is extensible, it is stateless, but not sessionless. But HTTP and connections. So like in the sense, it is connection oriented with reference to secure HTTP and HTTPS. Now, the next one is the last topic of the fourth unit, which is wireless web. Now, what this wireless web is? The wireless web refers to the use of the World Wide Web through a wireless device such as a cellular phone or telephone or a personal digital assistant or PDA. Now, what is the purpose of this wireless web? See, as we have seen in the evolution of the World Wide Web, in Web 3.0, we have seen the web pages are being designed in such a way that it should be compatible with the mobile phone. If at all, if you see in the mobile phone, you will be having an option of seeing search website as or do you call as it will give you an option as search website as PC. But because in your mobile phone the websites are been designed in such a way, it should be very much compatible. Either it's Android or it's iOS, but it should be mobile compatible. For that all the reason wireless web is being introduced. Now, what it says, the wireless web refers to the use of World Wide Web through a wireless device. What it is, such as a cellular telephone or a PDA. Now, what is second point? Wireless web connection provides anytime, anywhere connection to email, mobile banking, instant messaging, weather and travel information and other services. And all of things will be using these wireless webs. And the next point is, in general, sites aiming to accommodate wireless users must provide services in a format displayable on typically small wireless devices. See, some of the websites which are very heavy cannot be displayed on mobile, though those websites are very good at the desktop level or with reference to the tablet level, but those are not compatible with the mobile versions. So for that purpose, wireless web is being used. So what it says, in general, sites aiming to accommodate wireless users must provide a service in a format displayable on typically small wireless devices. For that reason only wireless web was being introduced, or wireless web are being used now. Now, what are the 5 unique characteristics of wireless web? The first one is a mobile first approach. It means in the sense that particular website or that particular World Wide Web should be mobile compatible. Compatible in the sense not mobile phone, in the sense it should be wireless type of a things. It should be dynamic, or it should be very much efficient to connect from anywhere at any place. The next one is it is dynamic seamless connectivity, and the third point is an intelligent and distributed edge, and the next one is virtualized and cloud native core, and the last one is everything as a service. In the sense, these websites or these category of wireless web should be very much compatible to anyone, anywhere, and any place type of characteristics. So that's only the reason it will be very much compatible with reference to your mobile phones and easy to use when you are using it. So that's only the reason, if at all if you want to check any of the things, and the first thing that we do is we will type for www.google.com, but because it is very much compatible with the PC, with a laptop, with a tablet, and also with the mobile phone, and that's the only lightest website that can be opened on every of the device. So it contains all of these features. It is mobile first, it is dynamic, it is seamless, it is very much intelligent and distributed. Intelligent in the sense, when you are opening it in the mobile phone, the mobile version will be open. If at all if you're opening, if there's a reference to your personal computer or laptop, the same website will be open in a different way. Okay, so this is how it works. I hope you understood something from today's session. If at all if you have any doubt with reference to the third unit, you can message me on my email address rahmat_ali2@yahoo.com. This completes our fourth unit of computer networks. In the next session, we are going to start with the fifth unit of computer network and the last unit of computer network. That's all for now. I hope you understood something from today's presentation and today's things. This completes our fourth unit. If at all if you have any doubt, you can come down to the college for a personal doubt clarification session. Until the next session, take care, bye bye, have a great day. Thank you for listening.